again, car manufacturers have partners with an important radius of how complex and how these are two vehicles over here that is. Auto manufacturers, dealers, and suppliers and consumers are just trying to make sense of it.
So Vanessa, I take it whether you buy a Ford, a Chevy, or a Toyota, or a Mercedes, or a Volvo, it's gonna wind up costing more because of Trump's tariff.
Is manufactured exactly whether it's the American function, right? You make cars, that uses foreign parts or a foreign manufacturer that imports vehicles. Right now, it's going to work on this third again. Hard, everyone's getting radio is just how messy the whole situation is. And the auto manufacturers, dealers, suppliers, and consumers are just trying to make sense of this.
It's gonna wind up costing more because of Trump's tariffs.
Exactly. Whether it's an American manufacturer who makes cars in the US, that uses foreign parts, or a foreign manufacturer that imports vehicles. Right now, if these tariffs go into effect on May 3rd, it's getting, it's going to cost consumers very. It's been called one of the scariest landings. It is hair-raising descent into the heart of. Now,
First time ready to build on an old airport. It's a beautiful thing because they're flat. Having a flat side is actually a great thing for a sporting car.
There's a reason for this development. Hong Kong is betting big on both sporting events and entertainment to stay like Coldplay. Those international actors. Hong Kong wants to compete with the likes of Singapore and Tokyo. These stadiums in the region. They don't hire government efforts or tourists with attitudes. Every cycle, you use this institution or based services that TV affordable for sports. Visit
it's very big. Global sport events and entertainers in the city. Those international
If you carry the water, you have to need it. The city. Get started today at homes.com.
strong connection between a therapist and a client, it's transformative.
Being part of Better, I work with clients to rewrite their own story. A smoother shipping experience with ShipStation. Imagine integrating seamlessly with all the places you sell online. See your entire inventory synced and manual tasks automated. Picture finding the best carrier rates with ease. Feel what it would be like to save time and money with ShipStation.
Trump still publicly standing by Hexet as the White House denies a report that is looking for plate Hexet.
Mr. President, are you concerned about the level of chaos that Trump has described at your Pentagon?
He's doing a great job. It's fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends with you.
Scott Jennings, this one's for you. The Secretary of Defense putting his family on his personal phone on a signal group chat. John Bacon, of course, one of the most endangered Republicans.
Trump still publicly standing by Hexet as the White House denies the report.
Of course, as the spokesman, a former spokesman, who for Hexet to get the job in the first place. That this is a Trumpy. That's the way he should or should he not?
Well, the White House initially, when the story came out a week ago, acknowledged it was a mistake. So that's number one. Number two, based on the people I've spoken to in the White on this, and digging, and it's not the way things. Well, publicly is what you're also hearing privately, that he is not interested in the meeting or the Democrats alone with their signal gate issues. But my expectation is we're gonna stick with headsets at least for now and double down on the fight over these signal issues, which they consider to be over with, and it's not that big of a deal.
So they think that they don't want to give Democrats a win, but Elliot, my question is like, if, you know, this is what we're reporting, right? There was a signal chat, personal phone, members of the family. So again, separate from like the security officials, security clearances, right? And, like allowed to see a lot of the information presumably. Did you break the law?
We certainly violated the standards, for handling information and maybe broken. Now, the question is, what do you do about it? And I just, you know, and picking up on your point, Scott,
My expectation is.
when it comes to the question of his competence to serve the question, it always goes quickly to, well, they don't want to give, Democrats.
They think that they don't want to give Democrats a win.
We came out of Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin, therefore,
Right?
nobody is making a compelling argument or types of competence to the Secretary of Defense. And
Excuse me. Not necessarily Lloyd Austin. Lloyd Austin.
but that's right, like,
So they-
that's framed.
But certainly, don't exist like in a pod, in the top of the pod, flipping a coin. There's a confirmation. They spent an enormous amount of political capital on getting access confirmed. To bail on that, I think would be just.
And,
you know, I still think it's in their gates to do it.
you're kind of confirming my point though, which is that it's a question of what it would take to get someone else in the job, not this person appears to be manifestly unfit to be running a multi-billion-dollar agency with hundreds of employees. They don't agree with that.
And the gut and the courage to name things by their name, things that were forbidden to speak, right? The abuse of priests, the cover up of bishops.
A victim of clerical sexual abuse and an openly gay Vatican advisor remembers the time he spent 3 days with Pope Francis issuing his apologist for Pope's grave errors in his handling of the Chilean vaccine scandal.
We really have to make a difference. Faces and prevention, and now we're working on reparation, which is also very important if you ever can be repaired.
Name things by their name. In 2023, the Pope authorized less first couples less than 10 years.
In 2018, he knew obviously as a cardinal in Chile, where I'm from, told the newspaper, Juan Carlos Cruz, I don't think he's a victim because if he's gay, he might have liked it. Imagine how that feels. And so it really hurt. But Pope Francis told me, Juan Carlos, the fact that you're gay, it doesn't matter. Love you, made you like this, and the Pope loves you, and you're fine. Don't worry. With the LGBT community, I took some trans people to meet him, and they told him the stories, and he was almost in tears.
For same-sex couples, less than 10 years before he died. Meeting with the Pope
In 2018, he knew obviously as
I
a cardinal.
Christmas with him, we spent birthdays together, we talked on the phone all the time.
So I don't think
Because
he's a victim.
the church belongs to souls, to everyone, everyone, and that we remember him and watch the message we need to continue.
The fact that you're gay doesn't matter. Maybe like this and the Pope loves you and you're fine. Don't worry. With the LGBT community, some trans community knew him and they told him the stories and he was almost in tears. Every 2 weeks, full period of time. We spent Christmas with him, we spent each other. The church belongs to all, to everyone.
Somebody who knows a little bit about what the Defense Department, former Secretary of Defense. Liam Panetta, Secretary Panetta, I'm part of this reporting team on this story for CNN. And I have to ask, because I'm not in charge of classification. A uniformed officer put out attacking information on a signal group, a commercial app on his private phone, and it included his wife, who does not work for the Pentagon. What would happen to that uniformed officer?
That uniform officer would be summarily dismissed and fined, for having, really created a major breach in security. These are attack plans. You've got targets, you've got weapons, you've got timely for when this attack is going to take place. Make no mistake about it, you're talking about secret information. When you're
But the uniform
attack
officer
plan.
put out Pentagon information on a single plan of a private fund to his life in this world war. What would happen to
There was a journalist on there as well, and here's the scenario where he's doing this on a single tap, in which he again is talking really about weapons and targets, and these are these attacks. This is all a major breach of security that really calls into question whether he should remain a Secretary of Defense.
Our understanding, my understanding is that what he sent on the second chat was similar, if not identical, to what he said in the first chat, and we know it was on the first chat because Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, accidentally added the Atlantic Magazine's Jeff Goldberg to that one. Here is some of that, because I want people to remember what we're talking about here. This is when they were talking about military strikes against the Houthis in Yemen, and Hegseth writes, team update, time now 11:44 ET, weather is favorable, just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. 12:15 ET, F-18 launch, first strike package, 13:45, that's 1:45. Trigger base F-18, first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so it should be on time. Also, strike now launch MQ-9S. Now, I am not in charge of classifying, but that seems like very sensitive, classified is not public information about an event that has not yet been. Team update. Time now 11:44 ET. Weather is favorable. Particularly go for 15 ET. 18 long.
Why?
First strike pack. 13:45. 1:45. Trigger base F-18. First strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drive launch Q9S. Now, I'm not in charge of classifying, but that seems like it would be very sensitive, classified, if not secret information about an attack that has not been happened.
And they were able to, this is the, importantly, like, and that is off, then and uniforms their lives. And this is dangerous. If you, this kind gets irresponsible handling of highly classified information.
Could be when you're Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time and expertise as always.
Good to be with you.
This is classic rap.
And they were able.
This thing that happens between all rappers, and means a lot of us at the top of the game. What's ironic then about this lawsuit is that Drake himself is the initiator. He started this battle with Kendrick Lamar. And he used this platform to engage in other. So that's what this is saying. And then when you just leave, the centuries.
This is classic rap.
This complaining that he lost
He's allowed to buy the game, and which I agree.
Drake's doing the record label though, instead of Kendrick Lamar, the record. This could be because Tony is one of the authors that actually said it rather than the label.
That's what makes the label so big.
Fred is basically saying, I dissed you.
But he's claiming that the record label is
and become so
great. Part of what he does is
because he listened to this bad.
Why?
Choosing.
Why is?
Something.
Maybe.
They get a better process. Seems like, are they going after you? Because, no, trying to get in a better.
That's an interesting point, and it appears that he's going after the
Lamar is over the stuff about pedophile stuff. Drake says that's because he knew it was defamatory. Drake up a point that because it's
Drake, why? The word pedophile is because this Super Bowl is this family viewing event. It seems like are included. Going and listen to that because song is like an idiot that weren't the performance. So I think you can situate that one.
Drake says that's because he
well, he got a purposefully family participation in this battle, this listen to that song. I think establishing the plan before Puerto Rico. You just place out that you decide this word so got to prove now this is
be your performance.
intentionality. This record label, he purposely engaged right his participation in this battle. This battle is so much fun to have a difficult time establishing those claims for other artists. And the chilling effect to decide this artist is dismissed. There's a lot of state here actually need to dismiss it before it will certainly impact
Well, we shall see. For now, we can watch them today. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, baby.
It may seem obvious, but now it's official. Motion Picture Academy members must watch all of the nominated films in the category and vote in that category. Before, voters were encouraged to see every nominee before voting. Now it's a requirement. The Academy also announced guidelines for the newest category, Achievement in Casting. An award debuts on the 98th Academy Awards, March 15, 2026.
This could
A group of children mysteriously disappears overnight in Yemen. The first shooter trailers of the film just dropped weapons from barbarian fighters. That trailer is being sealed on the stage.
Before, they were encouraged to see everybody before voting. Now it's a requirement. The Academy also announced guidelines for its newest category, Achievement in Casting.
Rival ballet companies find a way for the show to go on in a throng.
Clark and Kennedy. Police and community service and community police standards.
It's time right now. Let's go.
More creative
Releases of influence and bar auspicious days series. Stay with the day.
when my hair started to turn, I thought, I can have these hair back. After
where my hair wasn't been thinning, it was gone.
When I spoke to my dermatologist, he immediately pointed me in the direction of Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free, independently tested.
Within 3 months, my hair was fuller, longer, and so much thicker.
I had more scalp coverage. It was so nice to be noticed for my hair after 5 minutes.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
I bring in history professor at Harvard University, Maya Jasanoff, to discuss the escalating tension between Harvard and the Trump administration. Professor, do you support Harvard suing the Trump administration over these threats to cut federal funding from the school?
100%. You know, on campus over the last week or so,
By the school task forces on combating anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim bias, and any of them generated since October 2023. Do you think the university should turn those over?
you know, I think we need to step back from all of this a little bit and just see what's going on here. You know, anti-Semitism is unacceptable wherever it takes place. I myself am of Jewish origin. I know that this is a problem that has been rising lately. It needs to be stopped, and Harvard has been taking steps to do that. But we should not mistake this very real concern for what's going on by the government. It is using this as a pretext for a much larger, deeper assault on not just Harvard, but on higher education across this country. The very thing that helped make the 20th century an American century. And, you know, since the 21st century, the government is similar to it.
The university's back with the Trump administration of Harvard employee to remain anonymous. Nothing has united Harvard deeply pressured campus more than Trump taking you guys on. Do you agree?
I absolutely do agree. You know, I think much from my point of view, positive things about a very difficult time we've been experiencing since over 2023. Make the 20th century, I hope the American South and really pull together more around ideas of what these functions are for. It's actually puts us in a strong position to stand up for what our needs for the people, for the world, and to defend against what seems to many of us to be just crazy and frankly very self-destructive attacks that are not emanating from
What students are they following closely? Are they worried?
You know, students, of course, are undergraduates.
I think the concern things are on, especially with the code supposed to be being started, what is Sean family started. So we got
It's not on the flip side of that. Concerned are you? Panama with one of it, physically, they should be people.
I think the first you look at, you were going to normally had exposed that was way. Hours. I think that's the case for think back, I had a number 9. There's things like it was great to see everything holistic. Players like Adams and there's quality inside, just I think getting the best out of it. When you're back, you get to have fight for it. Weekend and we got not good, but you're not going out. That was the case. Back, we had team is not just one person who you need, I mean, we can get people holistic on that team. It's been a lot of 2014, and even though I was got best, him is the guy, and get everybody impressed.
Do you see him as one thing being from football users, but I know you were critical of what you saw as the most from the players and that.
Don't pick up, you know, it doesn't take a long time. Time to go, I think it was one of the, but it's really think that doesn't take a long time. So you, by the end of the 23 and last week, so yeah. They do topic. So as a plan to think over and over. To play team from Europe and South America. I'm from South America, don't get that off. This is something that is actually got this. Probably, you know, the European kind of thing, it's playing the go. Getting made up and immediately because they were the last four. You know, and playing in another. To get confident. But playing this game, the opportunity to play against teams from Europe. Outside of Copa America, you're going to know that I think is always the right. I think that's like the next last. I think the league is really fortunate that I have to learn, but at the end of the day, it's on the players. It's like represent the country. Me as a fan, I feel like that's what I always did. Seeing other in other countries.
That the support of the team into what's to be a really, really nice, exciting year and a bit.
I mean, I keep saying, at the end of the day, when I was really all you to do is
what the players do. They fall like they go there and got out. It's like the team. I feel like that's what always that. It's we kind of take this that's personal. So it's violence. Somebody do that was fighting for each other and then playing. We didn't have that time. People to feel like you care about it, and I think that's what they need to do. And hopefully get to that.
And then finally, I'll say, television is the game changer that I need. Television is the daily work to keep you and the body is just easier, and the motivation is so up. And the result of life is solutions on television and body. Concentrate today to love your body.
People just feel like you care about it, and I think that's what they need, and they're gonna do.
The world is celebrating 70 years in the U.S. and get exclusive offers on Philippine Volvo models. Meet the first of its kind. Portable cooking system. Now you have the power of a full-size air fryer in the palm of your hand. Cooking for game day? Christmas. Lunch at the office? Christmas. Hosting a party? Christmas. Just prep it, wrap it, serve it. In storage, all in one. Renewed crispy.
Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth is facing new questions about his future after a new controversy involving military plans being shared on Signal. Hegseth shared detailed plans about the military operation in Yemen on his personal phone in a group chat that included his wife, his brother, and his personal lawyer. That's according to three people familiar with chats. The news comes after Hegseth by several of his top officials last week at the White House. Easter egg roll, he said he was the victim of a media stitch-up. From disgruntled
Basically, Pakistan is facing new questions about its future. The
Not gonna
new
work with me.
controversy involving military plans being
Change the
shared
defense
for
department.
signal.
What
Except
is
shared
that?
details about military operation
And
in
the
Yemen.
honest,
This personal phone in a group chat that included his wife, his
doesn't
daughter,
matter.
and his personal
Chief National
lawyer.
Security Correspondent
That's
Alex
according
Newcott
to
is in
people
Washington.
familiar. Checks
Whatever
the
he
news
says about it,
stands
more
on
than
by
headlines.
seven of his top officials last week at the media station.
This second signal chat
This is
could be argued to be worse than the first one, in that in the first case, he didn't create the group. He then did put some extremely sensitive information in there, arguably classified. Many people do indeed believe that was classified. And the readers of that first signal group were all very senior level national security officials. That is not the case this time. This was a group that was created by Hegseth himself. It dates back several months around his confirmation hearing. It includes people who are very close to him, like his wife, who does not work at the Defense Department, like his personal lawyer, Tim Parlatore, who does now work at DOD, as well as his brother. And in this second chat, he included some of the very same, we believe, sensitive information about the U.S. plan to attack Yemen, attack the Houthis on March 15th. So this is really quite damning, and it comes at a time of real turmoil at the Defense Department. There have been a series of leaks on a broad range of subjects that we know has really frustrated Chief Hegseth. In the past week, we have seen three senior level top advisors and officials at the Pentagon get fired. Hegseth's own staff has been removed, possibly will be reassigned within the Pentagon, and then his former press secretary, who stepped down last week, has issued a series of daring quotes about Hegseth's Defense Department. He called it a full-blown meltdown. And this is part of a statement that he sent over CNN. He said it's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon. This is John Ulia. From leaks to sensitive operational plans to mass firing, the dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership. Now, Ulia had been a longtime supporter of Pete Hegseth. He had supported his confirmation at a time when it wasn't clear that Hegseth was actually going to make it through. Now, Hegseth and the president were both at the White House today for the Easter egg bowl. And we heard a supportive President Trump when asked by our colleague Betsy Fine about this alleged dysfunction at the Pentagon.
Sent over to CNN.
Just fake news, it just bring up stories, it just sounds like this is like some of them stories, and he was put there to give a lot of bad people, what he's doing.
Max, those dysfunctional employees that Trump and Hegseth both seem to be referencing are those three individuals who, again, were very close to Hegseth. So for now, it does appear that Hegseth does have the president's support. The White House may not want to give what would be perceived a win, perhaps, to the press, may not want to go through another tumultuous confirmation hearing. But if these incidents keep stacking up, we could see a change in soon.
I'll start now. Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the Archbishop of New York. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to speak to you on such a sad day, although I know in some ways such a miracle that you after his hospitalization. I know you knew him. You attended his conclave.
Very close.
You spoke to many
Now it
times.
does appear that
He means to
Hegseth
you.
does have the president's support. The White House may not want to give what would be received a win to the press. They don't want to go through another tumultuous information hearing. But if these incidents keep stacking up, you can possibly see a change.
A lot.
Timothy Dolan,
Think about
the
the
Archbishop
influence.
of New York.
I also have to think about the
So
influence
grateful
of
that
the.
you on such a sad
When
day.
you get a phone call from the Pope or your administration. Brother-in-law, it's signed by the Pope, and written by the Pope, because they told the Pope that Fred was going to cancer. When he called me during COVID and said, how's New York? So how are our Jewish friends doing? New York, that's a division of the town. This means a lot. He was a Pope with a big heart, surprised that, and it was interesting, Aaron, between among the meetings last months of suffering the frailty. The physicians would always say, his heart is very strong. But you bet it is. His heart is strong. His heart is big. His heart breaks with the suffering. His heart bursts with love for people and
I will never forget being on Fifth Avenue across from St. Patrick's Cathedral. Cardinal, when he came down and just the crowd, but there's this rare moment in life where you see people gather for joy. That was one of them. And Easter Sunday was so remarkable. He found the strength to do this. It almost seems as if he wanted to get through that day of rebirth and regeneration. He blessed the crowd gathered. The Vatican, but he was back to in March, when you couldn't trying to recover, and he described his family as a blessing. He said it was an opportunity. This was the word that he put out. We can share involvement with spirit in the condition of so many prayers. And I wonder, Cardinal, as you think about that moment, or what impact is his letting us do that?
He found the strength to do this. It almost seems as if he wanted to get through that day of generation. He blessed the crowd gathered and the Vatican. But he was a few reasons for stress. And it actually, back to in March, like he couldn't speak yet, he was trying to recover. And he described his frailty as a blessing. He said it was an opportunity. This was the words that he put out in his prayer, to share with body and spirit. There's so many sick and suffering people. And I wonder, as you think about that, it's such a fraught moment. What impact is his letting us see that sweetness and his dissent? What does that have?
That's the way I watch it die. Today, he wasn't a strange life. Driving in 200,000 people who were seasoned and cheering him. He said, look, I just want to be with my people. Where I turn so the cross. That's that love and care and that boldness that's here. So
I know, Cardinal, that after you speak with us tomorrow, you're going to be leaving for Rome, and you'll be there for the funeral as for the upcoming conclave when the cardinals, and you among them, one of the 135 who will vote on who will be the next pope. I recently read his book, My Life, which I find quite profound and interesting. And he talks about issues on migration, which took on migrants, right? And he wasn't afraid to do what he needed to. But he talked about an era of conspiracy theory and propaganda, and artificial intelligence, all those issues on. He wasn't afraid to be in the moment.
With us,
where the church is reading for us. You want to see that
for the upcoming
in the moment.
Cardinals and the 135 who will be the next pope. I recently read his book, My Life, which I find quite profound. And it talks about, he takes issues on not just migration, which he took on migrants, right? And he has the phrase be political economy. But he talked about the era of conspiracy theory and propaganda, fake news, artificial intelligence, all those issues. He wasn't afraid to be in the moment. I'm curious as to how you see where the church of open ears. You want to see that same presence in the moment from the next pope.
Things of the world. Somebody said there, but you know, most of the time we expect the Pope to kind of live a St. John to God. And Francis did that. But this lady said to me, he kind of brought God down to us. We Christians pushing God becoming one of us, taking flesh. And I thought, she's on to something. This Pope not only lifted us up, but sort of brought God down to our level. So he takes all these issues in the world. He's not afraid of them. And he has wise commentary about it. It's like the world is sitting next to him on the front porch, listening to your grandpa, sharing wisdom, because